Are you tired of self-doubt holding you back? Have you ever wished you could have the confidence to face your fears, go after your wildest dreams, and the tools necessary to live your best life? Hey there, amazing listeners. I'm your host and author of How to Grasp Confidence and Own Your Power. And I've made it my mission to help you break free from self-doubt and embrace confidence. Subscribe now and join us as we unlock the secrets to unshakable self-assurance. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Grasp Confidence Podcast. I'm your host, Tara LaFawn Gooch, and today we are going to be talking about authenticity and the power of showing up as your natural self, as who you are, right? So for this, I have a special guest. Her name is Katherine Collins, and Katherine is the co-founder of 5 Year You. Katherine, please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today. And I knew that when we first got on the call that we share a lot of the same life philosophy. So I'm looking forward to our chat. I have been an entrepreneur for 15 years now. I started out as a blogger in the personal finance space. I've written a personal finance book called Mom's Got Money. And I did all of the sort of typical things, the blogging, the brand deals, the videos, work with banks. And I still felt like there were other parts of me that I wanted to help people with. I wanted to help people with confidence and mindset and how to be authentic. I realized in helping people with their money that it was so much more than habits or the typical things that you hear in the self-improvement space, that it had a lot to do with the internal work. And so my partner and I founded 5 Year You, which is a personal development company, and we have a podcast by the same name. And yeah, we help people on a one-on-one basis and through our podcasts and YouTube videos become their best selves in 5 years.
That's amazing. And, I think people don't think about that it doesn't have to take a ton of time. It can actually be a short amount of time with the right approach. And I do want to talk about the approach as well, because that's important. People lose sight of, oh gosh, how many steps do I have to take? What is the step? All of these how questions, right? And it makes them lose sight of the why and all of that thinking. So I do want to know about your steps, and then I do want to touch on the, authenticity and showing up as our best versions of ourselves as well. But take us through a little bit about these 5 steps in 5 Year You.
Yeah, well, we teach something called the layers of life, and we have it. It's best to see it visually, but if you think about it like a target with 5 rings, and you have to imagine that the inner ring is your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to believe, but it's who you are. It's the essence of you. It's everything you like and you don't like, and it's like how you really feel and what you truly think about things. It's who you are. And then on the ring closest to you, you'll have, your loved ones and your family. And as we go out, we'll do, career and hobbies and interests. And the outer ring is your title at work and the house you have and the car you drive and like how many followers you have on social media. And the way that most people operate day to day is they live from the outside, and we base our decisions in life on the appearance of the outer ring, on, how much money am I going to make from this promotion, and I really want a bigger house and this will make me happier, and through all of that, and the world is so busy and we have so much marketing to us and how things are supposed to be, we lose track of the inner ring, and we forget that living from the inside out is actually a more authentic way to be. So we take people through exercises of going through each of the rings. And so, because a lot of people are sitting here like, I don't even know what I like. Like, I know maybe I don't like this type of chips or something like that, but we lose sight of so much because we mimic society and what's going on around us. And so we teach people how to get to the core of who they truly are. And we go from there.
It's a clarity, right?
Yeah.
Because in order for you to show up as your most authentic self, you have to know who you are. Right. So the foundational element that I feel like a lot of people just, maybe they want to rush.
Yes.
Maybe they want to get to the end, right? And I get that. Who doesn't?
Right.
But actually it's the journey of it that really counts, right? Because there is no end to finding who you are and ultimately our place in this world. It's a continual evolution of growth and discovery.
And look, that was hard for me to grasp. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners can relate, like very type A perfectionist personality. I, want everything to be perfect and right. And I want to get an A+ and be like, and so I had to really do a lot of inner work to be like, look, there's no end to this. This is a continual thing. There are setbacks. This isn't like, oh, you reach this, personal development thing or this kind of milestone and it's over. That was something I really had to grasp. And the name 5-Year You is very intentional, and it's meant to be a bit of a pushback to our instant gratification world. And it's meant to say, in a world of, hey, do my program and you're going to make $10,000 overnight and you're going to get this many followers, like, in a world of that, like, we are speaking to the opposite of saying, like, look, these things take time. You don't unpack why you are the way that you are in one day. These steps take time. And of course, we can change our mood in an instant. We can do all of these things. But like you said, it is a journey. And as the journey unfolds, like, we have found that, 5 years is like a good time to look back and be like, wow, I've done so much work. Of course, you see the benefits of being your authentic self very soon, but it takes time, and that's okay. And so we're like the voice of, it's okay for stuff to take time.
I know, right? And again, it's these foundational elements, but it's so worth it. Don't you agree? I remember when I was in corporate and I felt like I was wearing a mask. People didn't really know who I was. I don't think I knew who I was. Well, I clearly didn't know who I was, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know my basic things about myself, what my purpose was, values, what my core values were. I couldn't have told you what my core values were at that time. And, you uncover these small things, right? What my strengths were. I didn't even know what my strengths were. Yeah. And you start to, uncover these truths about who you are. And it starts to give you confidence, right? Because all of a sudden you're not pretending to be someone else. You're just aligning with the best version of who you naturally are, right?
That's right. Yeah. And it's so interesting because there is a self-worth aspect to this. And it's actually one of the biggest hurdles people that we work with have to overcome. And it's first just acknowledging that you are worth the time and the energy it takes to discover who you are. And it's interesting you say about, what are my strengths and things like that. Like, one of my favorite questions to ask people is like, what did you like doing as a kid? Because we've found that what people were like naturally good at as kids and the things that you did before the world told you what you were supposed to do are your natural gifts that are coming out, whether it's reading or, writing poems or being outside, collecting rocks, like whatever it is that you chose to spend your time doing is usually part of that authentic you that we can pull out and find different ways to bring back as an adult.
I love that. It's so key, right? And it doesn't have to be a hard, challenging thing to uncover. Asking yourself some open-ended questions, right? And for me, it's what lights me up? What lights me up? When I think about getting out of bed in the morning, what would get me out of bed really, I just want to
Mm-hmm.
do it, jolt me out of bed, right? What is that thing? And for me, it's teaching other people how powerful they actually are
Yes.
through confidence, through my personal story and experiences of having a lack of confidence, feeling like I did.
Yeah.
I never would have thought this when I was in corporate,
Yeah.
that a lack of confidence had a purpose to it, because at the time I was a sales director and I thought it was a weakness. So I
Mm.
never said anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. What do you think
Did
about
you,
that?
I was going to say, did you find as a kid that like you enjoyed helping people as a kid as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and, some people are like natural helpers. They're naturally like to see other people do well, or they're the friend that other people can trust. And those are really valuable things. Like you can think about friends you might have, and like there might be a friend like my sister is very fun. If I want to have fun, I call her, and she makes me laugh, and she's very outgoing and fun. But if I need to have like a really in-depth, like serious conversation, I have other friends for that. And so for you were a natural helper. And so when you were in your corporate job, you had gifts, like you said, a mask, but you were able to perform at the level you were, supposed to with work. But your true passion is helping, not maybe not selling for someone else, but you feel more confidence in your work. And so I think that tracks. I think everybody has something like that. They just might not realize.
Yeah. And, I love this because authenticity is such a talked about thing right now, right?
Yeah.
And we're uncovering so much about authenticity on a scientific perspective. They've realized now that authenticity has the highest vibration that a
Mm,
person can have,
yes,
a highest vibrational state that a person can have. That's really, really powerful,
it is.
because that shows exactly how special we all are when we are our true selves and not trying to be like other people. But
Yeah.
like you said, though, it's not always easy on social media,
No, no,
is it?
no. No, of course not. Well, and it's interesting you mentioned that about the high vibration, because I think that one of the reasons why it's challenging to be your authentic self is because you worry, like, are people going to think this thing is weird? Or, "Oh, well, my friends like doing this, but I like doing this." Or, I mean, we get into even more challenging things like, I don't think I'm actually happy in this relationship, or I don't, and we start to get into that scarcity, which is a much lower vibration of,
Mm.
if I am me, am I going to lose everything? And so a lot of people sort of stay in the lower vibration out of fear and worry. And so, yes, it is hard. And if you pursue the path of authenticity, you might find that your world looks very different a few years from now. There are people in your life that might fall away, and there's going to be a lot of big changes. But what you get at the end is what you describe is, we believe that authenticity is the path to actual genuine happiness. Like you said, the highest vibration. What people don't realize is when you're operating at that vibration, right, you will attract other people at that vibration, other experiences, other moments. It's just you have to have the courage to unravel everything that might be in pursuit of who you actually are.
Sometimes we have to let go of things that are not serving us,
Yes.
right? And I think it's a poignant question that we all ask ourselves. Am I being authentic around this person?
Yeah.
Can I be myself around this person? And if you feel like you have to pretend to be someone else, or if you have to be guarded about who you actually are to the people or person you're with,
Yeah.
why? And is that serving you? And I can tell you the answer is going to be no, but I mean, obviously go on that self-discovery journey yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And why are we holding on to something that is not serving us? And I think you're right. I think that is a limiting belief there, that
Mm-hmm.
there's scarcity. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it is scarcity, and I think there's a lot of fear, especially for women, like the things that we've built around us, our career, our relationships, things like that. I brought up my sister, siblings, I have my partner's doing a lot of research on sibling relationships. Like there are all these things that society says that we have to have, and you have to call your parents, and you have to be best friends with your siblings, and you have to stay married for 50, 60 years. And there's all these like fake rules that people made up, and there's a lot of people who are unhappy. But for women especially, it is challenging to sort of go against the grain, to choose yourself and your happiness. And it's scary too, because there's a lot of built-in support with all of the systems I just mentioned. Is even work, if place you worked at for a long time that's not serving you, but you're like, but I know how to do this job well. I've been working with these people for 15 years. It's not great, but like I can just do another 15 years. I mean, we're talking about big chunks of life here. It's terrifying to make a big change, but also exhilarating at the same time. And so I think confidence, like you said, I love that you do that work and help people with that, because it takes guts and confidence to choose your authentic self. Because it's not going to be an easy transition, but worth it in the end.
I agree. And sharing, however you want to start, it could be sharing your story, sharing a part of your story, acknowledging the way you show up. Again, are you really showing up as your authentic, true self, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I started, because I was really afraid for a long time in my life about fear, judgment, and I had a tremendous amount of anxiety about this.
Sure.
Were people going to judge me? Were they going to? And you know what? Some did, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Most didn't. But I think the most important thing is the right ones didn't judge me.
That's right. I love that. We talk about like, if you can start small enough, like we always use the example of ordering like the gluten-free pizza crust, especially like for the moms out there. Like, let's say gluten makes you itchy, right? And like you got kids and it's movie night and you're ordering pizza and your kids are like, oh, I want pepperoni. And it's like, I don't like pepperoni. You're just like, oh, whatever, fine. You get what you want. You get what you want. And you don't value your own preferences enough to get yourself your own gluten-free pizza. Right? You're like, oh, I don't need to make this a $40 order. Like, it's fine. I'll just eat one of the kids, or I'll eat their leftover macaroni or whatever. And so we talk about starting as small as that, as saying like, I value myself. I value my body, and my preferences matter too. My preferences matter in this world, and I'm serving everyone else around me and doing everything for everyone else around me. And it literally starts with ordering the kind of pizza you like. And then it goes on from there, and it goes to wearing what you want, which a lot of people are like, what do you mean don't wear what you want? Like, I was in a relationship like that, like thought it was weird if I wore like bright colors or something like that. Like, you're going on an airplane like that, and like I muted myself down, and now I just like wear whatever. But you kind of get into these patterns and you get a little bit stuck, and it's hard to get out of. So yeah, we just say start with the pizza crust and go from there.
That's so perfect. And I totally relate to that actually on so many levels. It sounds funny, but growing up, my mom, she was last every single time. She never put herself first. I mean, literally, even if she injured her finger, it would be like something she would take care of. She wouldn't take care of herself at all. So my example growing up was a mom who never, ever, ever demonstrated herself first, who she never took care of herself, just put herself absolute last. And it's hard sometimes, I'm the youngest of 5.
Wow.
It's not easy. I know. God bless her. So, I have one, and I'm like,
But I was just thinking that I have twins, and I was just like, that 2 are my max capacity. So
Me too.
Yeah.
But especially for moms, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's say moms and dads out there, moms and dads, parents out there, what would be a good piece of advice? We have the, start with yourself. Maybe it's that pizza crust, right?
Yeah.
What is something then that they can do to show up authentically? Because again, maybe they're, worried about, are people going to judge, or am I going to lose friends, or my colleagues going to support me?
Yeah, I think that honoring your humanness is a good thing. I think we kind of show our best selves all the time on social media. And I think our generation, like, we got surprised to find out that our parents are human too. And I think that, we kind of grow up thinking our parents are infallible and there are things. So one of the things I've done with my kids is like, I tell them when I mess up, or something like that. Like I'll send a blank email to like 12,000 people, let's say, and I'll be like, guys, I just did, like, I can't believe I just did this. And it's like, I literally just sent a blank email to 12,000 people, but you know what? It's fine. Like, I'm alive, you're alive. Like, we're all good. And it's not a life or death thing. People make mistakes. Or I'll be like, oh, I completely forgot about this. Last week, I don't know how it happened. I'm like always on time for podcasts. Just completely not on my calendar. Like, I do multiple of these every month, and stuff happens. And I've told my kids about big mistakes and little mistakes because I don't want them to think that mistakes are the end of the world, right? So I try to show them my own humanness, and I have become very honest about like when I'm done. Like, I'll be like, Mom's at an 8 out of 10 right now. I feel myself getting tired. I feel myself getting impatient. I want to be the best mom I can be to you guys, but I'm running out of steam right now. And I'll just be honest about that, because I don't want them to just run themselves into the ground. Granted, mine are 10, so now I can just be like, tonight's the night where y'all just read your books and you go to bed. We're not like 10 minutes in your room and this one got 12 minutes. Like, we're not doing that today, and it's not every day, but just I acknowledge my own humanness. And that is authentic for everyone, because trying to be perfect all the time in every category is exhausting.
It is, and it's not realistic. And guess what? No one expects it. No one expects you to be perfect. You expect you to be perfect in your mind.
That's right.
Good luck with that, because it's not going to happen. Life's not perfect.
Impossible.
It is impossible. So I think that is so important. We've learned a lot today. It starts with us inside, right? Anything is possible, but it doesn't happen overnight. It takes some time. There is a delayed gratification that happens to success, right? To becoming the best, most confident, most authentic versions of ourselves. It's not something that happens immediately. But the thing about it is that it can happen if you put in the steps every single day. A little bit of work every single day goes a long way. And you can start by something small, like choosing yourself in a meal instead of you eating the leftovers. Right? It's the thing that you want, and honor your body.
Yes.
I think that's something that I don't hear a lot in the personal development space and confidence building in general. I don't feel like we honor our bodies enough.
I agree with that. And again, I think it's a self-worth thing. And I love that you added that to the conversation, because it matters so much. Every time we honor our bodies, we send a signal to our own brains that we matter. And that fuels energy for all sorts of things the rest of the day.
It's powerful. It's powerful. Those small little choices really add up to big compound effects at the end, right? And I think of it as just like building interest, right?
Yes.
That's $1 compounded interest over time can turn into hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars, right? Absolutely. And it's the same thing with one choice, one moment of confidence, one moment where you say, I'm going to share my story, one moment where you say, I'm going to show up as my authentic self, one moment where I say, I'm going to choose the people in my life and remove those who aren't serving me. These small little choices we make, all of a sudden compounded, get even bigger over time. And kind of, it creates courage and bravery, right?
It really does. It absolutely does. And I think once you build it, like you said, I think James Clear is big on the 1% a day thing. It just becomes a natural habit, just like any other habit you have. You sort of get in the habit of checking in with yourself. How am I doing? Is this something I really want to do? Am I worried about what this person said when I turn down this invitation, or do I actually just want to go to bed, or whatever? I think that it gets easier with time, and you'll mourn the loss of different relationships or jobs or things or whatever happens along the way. But it's sort of like a peeling that happens, right, to get to who you are. And like we've said many times during this episode, it's worth it when you get there.
Was it always this way for you? I have to ask, because everybody's saying, oh, it's so easy to Tara and Katherine. But can you take us back just a little bit?
Sure.
When this was not this way for you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, a big part of founding 5-Year You, and I wouldn't say making the transition from personal finance, because I still do a lot of personal finance writing, is I went through a really unexpected divorce. I had like all the check boxes of life and the beautiful Pinterest home and the boy-girl twins. Like, it was just like a little, Instagrammable family, and, book deal and all these different things. And like really at the peak, and like it just kind of all blew up. And I really had to ask myself, once I got through like the challenging part, like those first few months of just being in a complete daze, and I had to like say, like my whole plan of what my whole life was going to be is gone. And I finally started to see that as an opportunity, and that it was blank, but also like it was blank. And so, there's still a lot of sadness, built into that. And there's still a lot of triggering moments of like, going on a work trip and seeing like a cute family traveling together. There's a lot of sadness built into that. But I've had like some of the best moments. I feel like I got to rediscover myself, and I went through this process and went through intense therapy, and you really, really did the work, and realized that I didn't need the Pinterest house. Like who I really was like more of a minimalist person that like loves a good thrift store run. But I had changed, so much about myself to like, quote unquote, grow up or do this or do that. And, I realized that I was happier in a smaller space. I was happier with more quiet time to read and less yard work. I was, I really took me a long time to find myself again, and to get all the voices out of my head of like what was wrong about it or weird about it or whatever. So these are hard-won lessons. I think you'll find that right with a lot of people who live their lives sort of authentically and confidently, that usually something has to happen to spark the change. And I like to help people when they're sort of just feeling uninspired in life, rather than have them come to me after like a divorce or the death of a spouse or something traumatic. It's much easier to make the choice like, I'm just going to start 1% a day. But a lot of the best stories come from the worst ones, right?
And they all do, right?
Yeah.
And I think even if I didn't go through your exact same story, it's irrelevant. It's a human story.
That's right.
This is what people connect with. They connect with a human story.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody else on this planet that has had my same story. There's no one else on this planet that has had your same story. But we can find commonalities in that, and I can understand you at a human level. And this become more approachable, more
Right.
right?
Right.
And it really actually gains trust from another
Yeah.
human being in a big way.
Right.
Huge.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that it helps people to know that, yeah, you can lose yourself completely and find yourself again. And I thank you for reminding me that it's a good story to tell.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being a fantastic guest today, Katherine.
Sure.
I know everybody's going to be wanting to know how they can get a hold of you and find you. What are the best ways to contact you?
Sure. You can email us at hello@5yearyou.com. And our podcast is 5 Year You. All of our socials are 5 Year You, and it's spelled out FIVE. And we read and answer every email that we get. So feel free to reach out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Katherine, for coming today. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with your friends and family and networks. We only grow based on the love that we get and how many people share and leave a review. So don't forget to leave a review for this episode and let us know what your favorite takeaway from Katherine was. Guys, we will catch you on the next episode. Take care. And that's a wrap for this episode of Grasp Confidence. Thank you for joining me today and investing in yourself. Remember, building confidence is an ongoing journey, and each step you take brings you closer to the empowered, fearless version of yourself that you were born to be. Don't forget to visit my website, follow me on social media, and purchase my book, which is available on Amazon. Thank you for listening. We will see you on the next episode. Stay confident.